cooling up in here. I don't know why. Next up is Sheila O'Hearn. Sheila O'Hearn's poetry has appeared in many literary journals and anthologies, including Great Weather for Media Anthology, Escape Wheel from New York, and the Curlew Arts Anthology out of Wales as the feature. Early on, her urban-inspired chapbook, The Insatiate, was published, that's a great title, was published by Burning Effigy Press, Canada. A vision for her work eventually transpired, what nature teaches, which is not so easy for humans, or human experience and success teaches by comparison, often through failure of the urgency to redefine it. Sheila, you're up. Okay.
Hopefully I'll be able to see. I think I'm gonna, can everybody hear me? Because I think I won't use the microphone as long as everyone can hear me.
That's good.
Okay. I wish to thank everyone who's organized this event, especially Marty Smith and Louise Bak, and I'm really happy to be part of it. And I was just remarking when we were coming up, just walking along the streets of Toronto, and I thought, oh my God, like I'm from Fergus, so it's like, so this is what it's like to be out at 7 p.m. It was so cool. Oh. So anyway, I reflect on what it means to me to be a poet for change. As you started to say, I do write a lot about the beauty and harshness of nature and where people figure in this phenomenon. However, I have another group of poems that I'll be reading from tonight, another manuscript I've been working on for many years about drug and alcohol addiction. Now, I've written my experience as a lay person, a mother, and a caregiver. My experiences have taught me about the power of love, and my observations have taught me about the continued lack of community and timely mental health resources. Of course, we have more science about addiction. We have politically correct word changes. But these are better suited, it seems to me, to a population of people, maybe the mainstream, whose empathy and understanding do not grow in tandem, than to the population of people with the disease, many of whom will simply die because the resources that have been developed may not be suitable for particular people, or even more concerning is that the wait lists are way too long. The short of it is, amazing people whose journeys are not for the faint of heart and will not be heard or counted continue to die, while amazing workers in this field must struggle under a broken system. And I sure don't have the magic answers either. The disease is frustrating and it's overwhelming, and families and the individuals afflicted, in my opinion, have somehow to shoulder the lion's share of this phenomenon through patience, trial and error, and the will to survive. So how does my poetry serve? Well, as bearing witness, I suppose, to people with a disease who are human beings first. So in the first one, poem I'm going to read, it's really about a type of alternative community, I suppose, that I've certainly witnessed and have even joined, especially when on the many nights when I was looking for my son and wondering if he was alive or dead. And in the alternative community that I had the privilege, really, of being with, I just borrow the words from Rolf Jacobson from his poem Sunflower. It's not at all as evil as you think. So in short, I'm writing about human beings first, the right by birth to be counted, no matter what life ends up flinging at all of us. So this poem is called After Midnight. Nasty weather, but that's when bonfires spire from trash cans, not just for the cold nights, a gathering place for the new and seasoned, for those who don't find shelter or choose not to. Breaths, small spirals, shuffle in the frost like people for a chair. It's during bonfires tall words spark, or one word spits, and never the same, about the rift between two friends. The gun, no the knife, no the fist in the face, no the gut of a guy in the next mission bed. Worth bandying about, except why? Someone snorts with humor, another stokes the fire, scraps of ensuing silence pop in flame. A kindling of painful memories communal tongues don't speak. It's all one story, one thread drawn through the same cloth of flammable prayer. A good night to flock, where flickers fill up the night's vagrancy, flesh the soul, show strong bones in the otherwise unseen hands held flat to the fire, then curl and grasp what the heat inside them now can will. Suddenly the day's cache of cigarettes is for anyone who wants one. A bottle passes round reverently. A joint's incense, holy as church, swells like a hymn in the lungs. The young about to go hang around, and the elders acknowledge them and make room in their circle. A coveted line excites a few. It is an exodus nobody judges. A long and lean green light road that regret on the red can't cross.
Mercy, mercy.
My pause for drink of water. The next poem I'm going to read is very close to my heart, and I'm sure that there are many who have shared the experience, and it's called Mercy. 3 a.m., and there he goes again. The alcohol, swearing up and down the neighborhood, waving crazy hands above his head, waking kids, picking fights with no one, won't remember, cops, counselors, warnings, worn down. But he can feel on good days, ye keepers of a broken system, guardians of revolving doors, custodians of quiet, condescending language that dilutes him and he scorns, oh, violently. They all lead back to back alleys, filthy streets, or home where he's turned out. On good days, he can hear the Angelus ring, gather feathers, lay them at his mother's feet as promises. He can see the spiritual in a blazing leaf, arrange it in a bowl until it desecrates to magic dust. The crack. On good days, he can fight Quixote style. He can fight like Bruce Lee flying, chopping down his foe. A good day when he clings from cliffs we see as flat. A good day when he tells himself, today will be a different day. Clean up, stop meds, go sober, go, go. The same good day he suffers when he fails, and his family fails, and his doctors fail, and the cops fail, and the self-referring detoxes fail, and shelters fail, and brooms to whisk him to oblivion fail, fail, fail. If he were not a poor man, he'd give away his money to the hungry. He would point the right road out to every human being. This same disdain shadow shifting on brick walls, no door, spitting bile, and he hates it. He hates, but he wants to live. His eyes are full of the broken parts of his heart. His mouth is full of God twisted in his entrails. He stands outside the music he created once, and only he can hear, locked inside his great love. He loves, and he wants to live, to shout this impossible prayer, this hysterical prayer to be whole, that only rivers hear and receive in their mercy at 3 a.m. Deep chasms hear him, bottles hear him, needles hear him, graves hear him, angels hear him, and all the places where he can't be found hear and receive him in their mercy. He is everywhere our shadow falls. Would you step over your own shadow and leave it behind? It's not exactly lighthearted, is it? Anyway, okay. Anyway, and I have another one that is a little more hopeful. I wrote this for the same family member, my son, and he told me I had permission to say it, that. On the cusp of deciding to go into recovery for the 28th time. It's a poem about one's endurance, will to live despite the pitfalls, despite his sense of failure. It really is a poem about hope. And I've taken a quote from the Kotzker Reb, "The only whole heart is a broken heart," and it's called Spinning. I know the feel of road on skin, the consciousness of speed that's never rush enough, the edge tracks lead to and the train crash in, that free fall down the rabbit hole and no end, of climbing back through all I had become, a darker element, that other one, of facing yet again my parent, son, daughter, spouse I abandoned for the crack house. And I'm scared, God, scared of what's ahead. I've backtracked every mile, distance measured not in time or place, but by annihilating stasis. Now, upon this crossroad, every way I turn, a mirror. At my heel, the small, uninterrupted deaths I chose. At hand, the future, I am told, my every impulse wants to flee. Sometimes it's just a shadow, or the light that etches out the trees. Sometimes I see its face, my own, staring back at me. And though I form its bones and breathe its breath, it seems a wounded animal I want to love outside my reach. But God, I swear this time, I will go slow towards it, tame and feed it every day, just a bit, until it follows me around like the sun, until it sits beside me in the moonlight, quiet and calm, and the shadows in the sparkling water show a paw and hand until we blend. The same when, spinning in the wind, I take its shape, I bend, the leaves, my soul, the air, one skin, some circle in me left unbroken, or a broken circle that by entering I mend. Thanks. I'm going to read one more poem, the last poem. Let's see. Originally, he was from Winnipeg, and he ended up in the streets of Edmonton. His name is Sterling Gauthier, and I've written this poem for him. And he was an addict who died, and he is acknowledged now as an astounding Indigenous artist. And for anyone who wants to find more information, unfortunately, I wish that I had thought to get permission from the CBC to display his some of his paintings on the back here, but didn't happen. But if anybody wants to know more about him, come and ask me. Anyway, there is one photograph, a rare photograph, that shows him holding up one of his paintings. He's on the streets with the help of a friend. And with his free hand, he's thrusting up his middle finger, and he has a very sardonic look on his face. I laughed when I saw it, but on the other hand, I love that photo because to me it just showed his raw and mischievous, indomitable human spirit. And he seemed to be saying to me, never forget I have other things to do. I am many things. I am I, and I count loudly for myself and for my adopted street community in Edmonton. And so he was acknowledged by those who knew and loved him, and he became a beacon for the people there after he died. And he is another, or he is but one, of thousands of remarkable people whose journeys count but may never be known. So,
what was the artist's name again?
Sterling Gautier,
Sterling Gautier, okay.
and it's Gautier. So I've called the poem Globe Skimmer, and the globe skimmer is a dragonfly that migrates across the ocean. Fascinating creature. And the images in the poem are from Sterling Gautier's paintings that stood out for me. And among those images are his dragonfly. So I've just called the long title here, Globe Skimmer for Sterling Gautier, young, indigenous Edmonton artist, homeless, died in a city bus, January 23rd, 2017. Tonight, the homeless stand together like sacred candles. They burn and hollow the honey tree to free the artist's bare spirit. They light the way for his wings breaking through the carapace. Every tear is a calm sea for the gliding globe skimmer. They lift him high from the brush of his demons and release him. They journey with him as far as the edge of the earth and sky. They send him off as he first came to them one night, no nameless casualty found at the back of a no-exit bus, and some have said he was never found, but as flickers on water or glints on a road we each travel from birth, carrying us to the other world. Thank you.